This is a 190 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney Mr. Morris, capital M-O-R-R-I-S. Defense attorney Ms. M.S. period Wilson, capital W-I-L-S-O-N. And we'll start with the defense attorney. Ready? And what have you determined? Do you want the photo numbers or just my determination? The photo numbers and then your determination. Okay, let me just object as calling for expert testimony, lacks foundation, calling for speculation, vague and ambiguous. Should. Can I have a running objection throughout the examination? Sure. My photo number 3869 through and 3870. Those pictures show the radiator of the motorcycle along with the radiator fluid reservoir of the motorcycle. And would you like me to describe the damage? Yeah, hold on. Before we do that, why don't I just get some foundation first? Have you ever inspected a motorcycle that was involved in an accident prior to this inspection on March 5? No. Okay, and have you ever taken any classes in inspection of motorcycles prior to this collision or now? Prior to this collision? No. Prior to March 5th of 2009? No. And have you taken classes after? Yes. And received training in inspection of motorcycles after this date of March 5, 2009? Yes. And what courses have you taken? I've taken a 40-hour course in basic motor vehicle inspections. It was in, I believe it was July of 2010, and that was at the CHP Academy in Sacramento. Yes. Did you pass the course? Yes. Did the course teach you how to inspect motorcycles? All vehicles. Okay, what qualified you to inspect Mr. Kane's motorcycle on March 5, 2009? If anything, I was in training as the area's motor vehicle inspection officer. I was assisted by Officer Tom Wilkins. Officer Wilkins was the prior vehicle inspection officer at the CHP East Valley office. When you say you were assisted by Officer Tom Wilkins, was that for the inspection of the Mr. Kane's motorcycle on March 5, 2009? Yes. I see. What was Officer Tom Wilkins' background to inspect a motorcycle on that date, if you know? Let me object. Lack of foundation, calling for speculation. He was certified to do these inspections through the CHP Academy. Did anyone besides Officer Wilkins help you in your inspection of Mr. Kane's motorcycle on March 5, 2009? No. And what did Officer Wilkins do in terms of the inspection of helping you in checking it? He instructed me through the process of how to document everything involving the inspection. He showed me how to measure the brake calipers and brake pads. He showed me how to measure tire depths on the tires and just to do an all-around inspection on the vehicle. Okay, did he help you step by step in checking Mr. Kane's motorcycle? Yes. All right, let's go to these pictures that we were discussing with regard to the radiator, and the first one is photo 3869. And what does that photo show? The photo shows the motorcycle's radiator, which has been crushed. The radiator cap is missing and the radiator filler neck is also crushed and it's torn at the base where the radiator filler neck meets the top of the radiator. Can you point out for me what damage you believe shows that the radiator is crushed? The radiator crush segment is right here, this convex area. The radiator is supposed to be flat, and you are pointing to the left of the white piece in the center of the photo. Yes. Okay. Okay, go ahead. The radiator's fluid filler is right here, and when you say right here, to the top right of the white tank, and is there a hole in? There's a tear, which you can see in the black region just below the record round filler neck. Why don't you circle that with a red pen? And now you're circling the hole in the filler area, correct? Okay, yes, the radiator's fuel cap is missing, which would normally go in this area. And that's just above the filler neck. Yes. In addition, there's also a tear to one of the radiator tanks which would be the right side of the motorcycle. In the picture, it's shown to the left of the white tank, and it's shown as a silver area among all black. Okay, and you've made a red circle around that as well. Yes. And tell me again what that item was. This would be a tear to the radiator fluid tank. Okay, and is there a way to draw an arrow up to the white margin and just say fluid tank, radiator fluid tank? That way we'll be able to see it when we get the transcript back. Okay, did the radiator have any fluid in it when you did your inspection? It's unknown if there's any fluid located below the tear, but it would have been very little. Why do you say that? For one, the radiator fluid tank, which is this white tank which holds the supply of radiator fluid, is completely empty, and the torn radiator fluid tank section is normally full of fluid, and that has no fluid in it. Do you know if the radiator fluid for this motorcycle of Mr. Kane had a certain color to it? I don't know. Okay, do you know if the fluid that was observed at the scene of the accident on the road had a certain color to it? I don't know. All right, are there any other photos that would show fluids from the motorcycle that may have spilled out in the collision? No. Okay, and was it photo 3869 and 3870, yes, that you were referencing that showed the radiator? Correct. Okay, let me correct my notes here. Thank you. Is photo 3870 just a close-up of the radiator tank? The radiator tank? Yes. Okay, thank you. We'll come back to your motorcycle inspection because I want to know a little more about what parts of the motorcycle you inspected and what your findings were. But for right now, let's go back to the diagram on page 4. Okay. And we were talking about the circle with the number 3 in it, and there is a curved line that appears to start in the proximity of circle number 1 and or the line or the arrow of the path of travel of vehicle 2 of Ms. Santos' vehicle. What does that curved line with the arrow pointing to the circle with the 3 in it represent? Same objection. That was a long-winded question, sorry. That line depicts my opinion of the path of travel of the motorcycle after the collision with the rear of the van. And what did you base that on? That's based on the fluid on the road along with the number 1 area of impact. Same objections. And why did you make a curved line for this path that shows a vehicle overturning? Since a motorcycle has just 2 wheels, it eventually is going to overturn and land on a road. Now let's go to the circle with the 4 in it. Okay, and what does that represent? That shows the approximate area of impact of party number 1, Mark Kane, with the road, correct? And what did you base that area of impact on? Same objections, by the way, last 2 questions. That was based on my opinion of his approximate collision with the road due to the blood marks on the road. And anything else that you base the area of impact of Mr. Kane's body with the road and with my recollection of where his approximate point of rest was on my arrival. Anything else? No. Did anyone at the scene indicate to you that Mr. Kane had been moved after he landed? No. Following the collision? No. Okay. Was there any evidence as far as you had seen that he had been moved from where he landed? No. Object calls for speculation. Same objections. The circle with the 4 in it has a dotted line with an arrow. Yes. It seems to come from the location of circle 1. Correct. And what does that dotted line and arrow represent? That dotted line and arrow represents the direction of travel of what we consider a person, somebody that's not attached to a vehicle. Which one are you talking about now? I'm sorry. The dotted line ending at circle 4. Oh, I see. Same objections. And is this what you concluded was the path of Mr. Kane's body? Yes, after the collision, correct. And it's your understanding from investigation of the scene that in this accident that Mr. Kane left his motorcycle or was separated from his motorcycle after the impact, correct? Let me object. Same objections. Calls for speculation. Calls for expert testimony. Correct. Vague and ambiguous. And is that why he's termed a person? Or correct, it's a term we use. Is there a measurement that indicates how far the point of impact number 1 is to the area number 4? All right, the word list. We have East Valley, capital E-A-S-T, new word, capital V-A-L-L-E-Y. Mr. Kane, capital K-A-N-E. Officer Tom Wilkins, capital O on officer. Tom is capital T-O-M. Wilkins, capital W-I-L-K-I-N-S. Ms. M.S. period Santos, capital S-A-N-T-O-S. Mark Kane, capital M-A-R-K, new word, capital K-A-N-E. And that is it for the word list, and that will conclude our 190 Q&A practice test.